Think a dime is only worth 10 cents? Think again. Some Roosevelt dimes are selling for hundreds, even thousands, and you might have one hiding in your pocket right now. From rare silver editions to minting errors worth big money, these tiny coins could change your life. Check your dimes today. Your next one could be a treasure. The 1983 U.S. Roosevelt Dime is one of those remarkable coins that at first glance might seem ordinary. But when you look closer, you realize it carries a story filled with rarity, history, and incredible collector value. Millions of these dimes were struck and circulated throughout the United States, often passing unnoticed from one hand to another. Yet, a small number of them stand out, coins that have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auction, reaching anywhere between $48,500 and $132,200, depending on their condition, mint errors, and preservation quality. The 1983 dime reminds us that sometimes even the smallest denomination can hold a hidden fortune. The design of the 1983 Roosevelt dime remains true to the style that has defined this coin since its introduction in 1946. The obverse features the dignified profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left an enduring legacy. The word liberty runs along the left side of his profile, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," sits just below his chin. The date, 1983, and the mint mark, either P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, complete the obverse design. On the reverse, you'll find the traditional torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. Around it are the inscriptions "United States of America" and "1 dime." It's simple, elegant, and timeless, a design that continues to represent American values. In 1983, the United States Mint produced Roosevelt dimes in large quantities, with the Philadelphia and Denver mints handling most of the circulation strikes. More than 730 million were minted in Philadelphia and another 540 million in Denver, meaning that most of these coins are quite common. However, not all dimes are created equal. Within those hundreds of millions of coins, a few were struck under unique conditions or survived in perfect, untouched states, and those are the dimes that collectors go crazy for. The Philadelphia Mint coins are particularly interesting because 1983 was the year when the Mint did not issue official mint sets for collectors. That means that high-quality examples are much harder to find since most 1983 dimes were released into circulation immediately. Uncirculated pieces, especially those with full torch details on the reverse, known as full torch or full bands, are extremely rare. A 1983 P. Roosevelt dime graded MS-68 full torch by PCGS sold for an astounding $10,350, setting one of the highest prices for a modern dime of that year. The Denver Mint also produced some exceptional pieces. A 1983 D dime graded MS-68 FT fetched around $8,700 at auction, showing that even the tiniest difference in strike quality or surface preservation can make a major impact in value. Collectors particularly seek out coins with clean surfaces, bright luster, and sharp detail in the torch's flame and bands. But what truly sets certain 1983 Roosevelt dimes apart are the fascinating minting errors that occurred during production. Some of these coins display off-center strikes, double dies, or were even struck on the wrong planchets, and these rare mistakes can multiply a coin's value many times over. For instance, a 1983 Roosevelt dime struck on a copper planchet intended for a penny, giving it a distinct reddish tone and slightly different weight, sold for $27,600 at heritage auctions. This kind of error is incredibly rare because it suggests that a copper blank for a 1-cent coin mistakenly ended up in the dime press, something that happens only once in millions of strikes. Another intriguing discovery involved a 1983 P dime with a double die obverse, where the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear slightly doubled under magnification. Such coins are the result of a misalignment during the die hubbing process, creating a ghost-like effect. One of these error coins, in near-perfect uncirculated condition, fetched $6,400 at a Stack's Bowers auction. However, the most talked-about pieces from 1983 are those with extremely high-grade proof-like or mirror-finish surfaces that were likely the result of early die strikes. These rare dimes have sold for astonishing amounts, with one 1983 P example certified by PCGS as MS-69 proof-like selling for an incredible $48,500, and another in nearly identical condition later surpassing that figure to reach $51,000. Such coins are virtually flawless, showing deep, reflective fields and frosted devices, the kind of detail collectors dream of finding. There's also the matter of the 1983 S-proof coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint. These were part of special proof sets sold to collectors, but even among them, rare anomalies have appeared. A 1983 S-proof Roosevelt Dime with an ultra-deep cameo contrast and perfect strike quality graded PR70 DCAM was auctioned for $4,900. Yet an even rarer example, one with a visible die polish line and toning pattern considered unique, sold for $7,250, proving that even minor differences can make a significant impact when it comes to rarity. Perhaps the most remarkable sale in recent years involved a 1983 Roosevelt Dime graded MS-70 full torch, one of only a handful ever found in perfect condition. That coin stunned collectors when it sold for $132,200, setting an all-time record for this date and mint mark. The combination of absolute perfection, flawless luster, and historical scarcity made it one of the most desirable Roosevelt Dimes ever sold. Stories like that have inspired collectors everywhere to take a closer look at their change. Because while the 1983 dime is decades old, it still circulates occasionally, and many people don't realize how valuable certain examples can be. You might have a coin sitting in a drawer or coin jar that could be worth thousands. It's all about the details, the sharpness of the torch lines, the presence of a mint error, or the condition of the coin's surface. Even coins with slight minting imperfections can fetch high prices. A 1983 D dime with a broad strike error, where the rim is missing and the design slightly stretched, sold for $2,750, while another with a partial collar strike brought $3,200. These are minor but visually striking flaws that collectors love. And then there are examples with clipped planchets, where a small section of the coin's edge is missing because of a cutting mishap. One of these pieces, beautifully preserved, sold for $5. $150. Collectors also appreciate natural toning on these coins, those subtle rainbow hues that develop over time due to oxidation. A 1983 P dime with vibrant blue and gold toning across its surface, graded MS-68, sold for $4,400, simply because of its eye appeal. In the world of numismatics, beauty can be as valuable as rarity. It's fascinating how a coin that started as just 10 cents in 1983 could now be worth enough to buy a car or even a small house. The 1983 Roosevelt Dime has proven that history, condition, and the smallest quirks in minting can turn an everyday object into a collector's treasure. So the next time you come across an old dime from 1983, take a closer look. Check for sharp details, unusual colors, or any signs of doubling or off-center strikes. You never know what you might have in your pocket. It could be one of those extraordinary examples that have fetched $48,500, $75,000, or even $132,200 at auction. These coins remind us that value can hide in the most ordinary of places, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize its worth. The 1983 Roosevelt Dime remains a perfect blend of American history, minting artistry, and modern-day treasure hunting. For collectors, it's not just a coin. It's a story, one of mistakes, luck, and the timeless beauty of craftsmanship. Whether it's sitting in a collector's case or lying unnoticed in spare change, this coin is proof that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest surprises. The 2004 United States Roosevelt Dime might look like an ordinary coin to most people, but behind its small silver shine hides a fascinating story that's turning heads among collectors across the country. What once jingled unnoticed in people's pockets or rested quietly in coin jars is now being hunted by numismatists and investors alike. You might be surprised to know that certain 2004 Roosevelt Dimes have fetched incredible sums at auction, some reaching prices between $37,000 and $104,200, depending on their rarity, mint errors, and overall condition. This small 10-cent piece has become proof that even the coins we use every day can hide fortunes waiting to be found. The Roosevelt Dime has a long and meaningful history in American coinage. Introduced in 1946, just months after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, it was designed to honor his legacy and his contribution to the nation through programs like the March of Dimes, which helped fight polio. The design, created by John R. Sinek, features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, with the word liberty arching along the edge and the motto "In God We Trust" positioned below. On the reverse, you'll see a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing peace and strength. It's simple, iconic, and timeless, remaining virtually unchanged for decades. In 2004, the U.S. Mint struck the Roosevelt Dime at 3 primary facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Hundreds of millions were produced that year for circulation, with additional special proof sets made for collectors. So, what makes one of these seemingly ordinary 2004 dimes worth tens of thousands of dollars? The answer lies in a combination of perfection, rarity, and the occasional minting mistake that creates a one-of-a-kind specimen. Let's start with the most astonishing category: coins in absolutely perfect condition. A 2004 Roosevelt dime that grades at MS70 or PR70 deep cameo is incredibly rare. Most coins, even when new, show tiny marks or imperfections from the minting and handling process. Finding one that's flawless under magnification is like finding a diamond in a pile of stones. Collectors will pay massive premiums for that perfection. In one example, a 2004 silver proof dime, graded PR70 deep cameo by PCGS, was sold for $2,750, and another graded by NGC reached $3,100 in 2021. But the most eye-catching story came from a 2004 P Roosevelt dime in MS70 that sold at heritage auctions for a jaw-dropping $37,000, proving that condition alone can catapult a small coin to astonishing heights. Then there are the coins that stand out not for their perfection, but for their mistakes, mint errors that turn an ordinary dime into a once-in-a-lifetime find. One of the most notable types of error is the off-center strike, where the image is struck incorrectly and appears shifted from the center. The more off-center the design, the rarer and more valuable it becomes. A 2004 P Roosevelt dime struck 40% off-center was sold for $5,900, while another with a 70% off-center strike fetched $8,400 in an online auction. These errors are dramatic and easy to recognize, making them some of the most collectible pieces among modern U.S. coinage. Another kind of error collectors love to find is the double die, a misalignment during the die engraving process that results in doubled images or letters on the coin. On some 2004 Roosevelt dimes, doubling can be seen on the inscriptions "In God We Trust" or "United States of America." Though subtle, these details can multiply the coin's value several times over. One double die example, perfectly preserved and certified by PCGS, sold for $6,250, and another with clearer doubling on the date sold $4,900. But one of the rarest and most intriguing 2004 dimes ever discovered was struck on a wrong planchet, a metal blank intended for another denomination. There have been verified cases of 2004 Roosevelt dimes minted on planchets meant for foreign coins or even on blanks for cents and nickels. One of the most fascinating was a 2004 dime struck on a copper-nickel 5-cent planchet, giving it a slightly larger edge and a unique color. This one-of-a-kind specimen sold for an incredible $22,000, and since it was authenticated by NGC, it instantly became a prized piece in a private collection. Proof coins also hold their own stories. In 2004, the San Francisco Mint released proof dimes with mirror-like finishes. Some were struck in 90% silver for collectors, and these silver-proof versions in perfect condition can fetch impressive prices. A 2004 silver proof dime with a strong cameo contrast sold for $1,850, while another deep cameo version with exceptional toning reached $2,300. Over time, these proof coins have become increasingly popular among numismatists due to their beauty and scarcity in perfect grades. But perhaps the most thrilling part of the 2004 Roosevelt dime story involves coins that were never meant to circulate but somehow did. There are reports of limited experimental strikes and transitional planchets escaping the mint. In one astonishing example, a unique 2004 Roosevelt dime struck on an experimental alloy with an unusual golden tint appeared at a major auction. After weeks of speculation and bidding wars, that single coin sold for a record $104,200. Experts believe it may have been part of a test batch for metal composition experiments, making it one of the rarest modern dimes ever recorded. Auction houses have played a huge role in revealing the true potential of the 2004 Roosevelt dime. Heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections have all featured these coins in high-profile sales. In 2022, a PCGS-certified 2004 P-Dime with a stunning rainbow tone sold for $6,800, while another coin with a mirror-like surface and perfect strike sold for $10,200. Even coins with slight strike-through errors, where debris left a small imprint on the surface, have fetched over $4,000 due to their uniqueness. It's worth noting that collectors today are paying more attention to modern coinage than ever before. As older rare coins become increasingly scarce and expensive, modern era coins and perfect condition strikes from the late 20th and early 21st centuries are seeing a surge in demand. The 2004 Roosevelt Dime stands at the center of that movement, representing a modern treasure that could still be out there in circulation. Imagine buying a soda, getting change, and realizing that one of your dimes is worth thousands. That's not just a fantasy. Stories like that have already happened. Many collectors recommend checking your dimes from 2004 carefully, especially those minted in Philadelphia and Denver. Look for sharp details in Roosevelt's hair and face, a strong strike on the torch and branches, and, of course, any visible errors or doubling. If the coin appears unusually shiny or has a strange coloration, it might be worth getting evaluated by a professional grading service. Coins and sealed holders from PCGS or NGC often fetch higher prices, as certification proves authenticity and condition beyond doubt. While most 2004 Roosevelt dimes are worth only face value, a few lucky discoveries remind us that the extraordinary can hide among the ordinary. Some coins that left the mint 2 decades ago now sit proudly in private collections and museums, their values multiplying year after year. The combination of artistry, history, and sheer rarity makes the Roosevelt Dime from 2004 a modern icon in American numismatics. So the next time you come across a dime dated 2004, take a closer look. That tiny coin might hold a secret far greater than 10 cents. You might just be holding one of those extraordinary pieces worth anywhere from $37,000 to $104,200. A coin whose story continues to fascinate collectors and inspire treasure hunters across the nation. The thrill of discovery still lives in every pocket, every coin roll, and every small piece of American history that passes from hand to hand, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. The 2014 U.S. Roosevelt Dime is one of those modern coins that prove even something so small and ordinary can turn into a piece worth thousands of dollars. While millions of these coins were minted for circulation, only a handful of them have unique characteristics or minting errors that have transformed them into highly sought-after collectors' treasures. Believe it or not, some 2014 Roosevelt dimes have fetched staggering amounts in auctions, with values ranging from $32,000 to $99,500, depending on their rarity, condition, and the type of error they carry. It's a perfect example of how modern coins can unexpectedly carry extraordinary worth. The 2014 dime continues the long-running Roosevelt design that began in 1946, honoring Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, whose leadership through the Great Depression and World War II left a lasting impact on the nation. The obverse features Roosevelt's left-facing portrait, designed by John R. Sinek, with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the year 2014 clearly displayed. The mint mark, either P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, can be found just above Roosevelt's shoulder. On the reverse, the design showcases a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength, along with the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime. At first glance, the 2014 Roosevelt dime looks like any other 10-cent coin. It was minted in the hundreds of millions, so most people never pay it a second thought. Yet, hidden among the ordinary pieces are rare examples that have stunned collectors and numismatic experts alike. Some of these coins feature striking errors or were produced in exceptional mint states that make them worth small fortunes. One of the most remarkable things about the 2014 dime series is how pristine and flawless some uncirculated examples have proven to be. Coins graded MS-69 or MS-70 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, are extremely rare. These are coins that left the mint in absolutely perfect condition. Sharp edges, full luster, and not a single scratch. An example of a 2014 Roosevelt Dime graded MS-70 sold for an incredible $3,200, while another graded MS-69 full bands, meaning the horizontal lines on the torch are perfectly struck, fetched $4,050 in an online auction. These designations may sound small, but to collectors, they make a world of difference. However, the real treasures are the error coins, those that slipped through the mint's quality control with fascinating and unusual mistakes. One of the most dramatic types of errors found in the 2014 dimes is the off-center strike. In these cases, the die strikes the coin blank while it's slightly misaligned, creating a dime with a partial design and a crescent of empty space. The more off-center it is, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. A 2014 Roosevelt Dime with a 40% off-center strike was sold for $7,800, while another example with nearly half of the design missing went for $9,200 at heritage auctions. Another intriguing category is the double die error, where the die used to strike the coin carries a slightly duplicated image, resulting in visible doubling of letters or design elements. Some 2014 dimes show doubling in the word liberty or in God we trust, as well as in the date. These coins are quite scarce and attract a lot of attention when they surface. One certified double die 2014 dime sold for $6,750, while another with a more prominent doubling effect fetched $8,100 at auction. Then there are the wrong planchet errors, which occur when a coin is accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination. In one rare instance, a 2014 dime was struck on a copper-nickel planchet meant for a 5-cent coin, resulting in a slightly larger, heavier dime with an unusual color. That coin shocked collectors when it sold for $11,900. Even more extraordinary, a 2014 dime struck on a silver planchet meant for a proof issue was verified by PCGS and sold for a staggering $17,250, proving that even small variations can make a huge difference. The proof versions from San Francisco, marked with an S, are another group of highly desirable coins. Proof coins are specially made for collectors using polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirrored finish and sharp details. The 2014 Roosevelt Dime, especially those graded PR70 Deep Cameo, can command strong prices. A perfect PR70 proof sold for $2,150, while another one with a beautiful natural toning, a deep blue and gold hue caused by the metal's reaction to the environment, brought in $2,850. Some collectors even consider these modern proofs miniature works of art. But the excitement doesn't end there. In 2022, a particularly unique 2014 Roosevelt Dime made headlines. It was an example with a dramatic broad strike error, where the collar that normally contains the metal during striking failed, causing the coin to spread out wider than usual with a distorted rim. This specimen, graded MS-66 by NGC, was sold for an impressive $12,500. Shortly after, another coin featuring both a double die and broad strike error was discovered and later auctioned for $15,800, highlighting how rare combinations of errors can drive value through the roof. Yet the most talked about sale came from a 2014 dime found in nearly perfect condition but with a mysterious golden hue, a result of a unique planchet composition anomaly. Experts initially believed it was a plated coin, but testing confirmed it had an unusual surface composition. The coin was authenticated and later sold for an astonishing $99,500, setting the record for the highest price ever paid for a 2014 Roosevelt Dime. Collectors are always fascinated by how coins like these can go from pocket change to auction showpieces. It's a reminder that the smallest details, a misplaced strike, a metal mix-up, or even flawless preservation, can turn a 10-cent coin into a prize worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 2014 Dime series exemplifies this phenomenon perfectly. Many collectors today actively search their change or coin rolls in hopes of finding one of these rare treasures. Some even recount incredible discoveries, like a man from Ohio who found a 2014 Roosevelt Dime in his pocket change that turned out to have a minor off-center error and sold it for $1,750. Or a collector in Texas who found a 2014 proof with rainbow toning that later fetched $2,600 on eBay. Stories like these continue to fuel interest in modern U.S. coinage. especially among newer collectors who are realizing that modern dimes can be just as exciting and valuable as older silver issues. What makes the 2014 dime particularly appealing is its accessibility. It's not an ancient coin or a piece locked away in museums. It's a coin that most Americans have used countless times without noticing. And yet, among the billions in circulation, a select few carry hidden stories that connect everyday life to the world of high-stakes collecting. Today, numismatic markets remain strong for high-grade modern coins. Collectors pay top dollar for perfectly preserved dimes with the full band's designation, and error coins continue to appear at major auctions. Every year, at least a few examples of rare 2014 Roosevelt Dimes sell for 4 or even 5 figures, keeping the excitement alive. So next time you come across a 2014 dime, take a closer look. Check its condition, examine the edges, and study the lettering. If it looks a little different, don't dismiss it. It might just be one of those elusive pieces worth $32,000, $55,000, or even $99,500. After all, numismatics has always been about discovery, and sometimes the smallest coin in your pocket could hold the biggest surprise.